Hi and welcome to the channel. Today we are going to learn about how to attach a secondary EBS volume to the running EC2 instance. For that we are going to launch the EC2 instance with the root volume, which is going to give the EC2 to have the operating system and other file system uh, requirement fulfilled. And then we are going to launch a new EBS volume, which will be attaching to the EC2 instance, and then we'll mount it to make the EC2 instance using it. So let's get started. So firstly, you have to log into your AWS Management Console using your root or any other account which has the sufficient permission. Locate the EC2 service from the compute, or alternatively type it in the search box. Click over the EC2 and go to the EC2 dashboard. From here, you can choose the launch instance button, and then click on the first AMI to select and move ahead. Here in the instance types, keep its default selection, the general purpose. Move to the next one where you have default network VPC default, and subnet you can keep it in any one, but I'm choosing it Sydney 1, the Sydney first availability zone. I'll go with the default options. Only thing you have to make sure is your subnet has the default setting as a enable auto assign public IP. The public IP is needed to be assigned to this EC2 instance by AWS, because we are going to connect to the EC2 instance after launching over the SSH. So we need public connectivity. Next is to add the storage. We'll go with the default 8 GB of the storage size, and this is our root volume. So we are going to move with the same. There is a tag requirement where we can name the tag with test server or something. So we can give some name over here to identify later. If you want to apply some group operations, we can do that. We are going to create a new security group. We'll call it as a test server SG, and same thing for description can be copied. Inbound rule, default one, always whenever you launch, the default remains as a SSH 22 port and open for anywhere, but the only change we are going to make it here is we are going to make from custom to my IP, so that I am the only person who is allowed to connect to the EC2 instance over the SSH. And any other protocol needed, you can configure using the add rule, but as of now we need only SSH to connect to the particular EC2 instance. Next is to review whatever selection you have done and then launch it. I'm going to create a new key pair because I do not have, so I'm going to give a name as a Sydney KP, as a Sydney key pair, and download it same time. Once I download, it's already existing basically, so I'll say key pair. Once it's downloaded, I'll go to the next one. And here the process is kind of completed. So, but the thing is, still the instance is not up and running, so it is in a pending state. Still, some of the initialization are taking place. So, meanwhile, what we are going to do is we are going to just show you where you can see the system logs basically of all the process that is happening. So, this is the place. Once the system is up and running, it will throw all the logs here. So you'll be able to see the system logs completely over here, but right now system is not ready, so the logs are not ready as well. So yep, the system is back. Now I can take my public IP and open a command prompt. If I'm using the Windows, open the terminals in your Linux or Mac to just locate the file from here. So I'm going to downloads folder to see my file, and that's the Sydney keypair.pm file. But you can also give a absolute relative path to locate your file or keep your file basically. So I'm going to use ssh-i and then keep your name. So Sydney, and then EC2 default username at the rate the IP address. So I have to go back and copy IP address once again and paste it over here. This is copied now. It's not copying, so better to type 13.239 111 39. We have a typo. Once we type yes, and it will connect. Yep. So I'm going to clear the screen and we'll verify with the lsblk, which will list the mounted volumes. That means what all block devices are mounted over here. So we have one xvdf which is mounted and it is of 8 GB. Going back to the instance, we can verify this is our root volume, the dev xvdf. This is the only volume that is currently mounted. So what we are going to do is we are going to locate the EBS from the same place in the left navigation pane, volumes, and we'll see there are two volumes. The one that is in use by some other server, but this is the one that is recently created. And what we are going to do is we are going to create a secondary volume for ourselves. So we'll keep it as 10 GB. We are going to give or advance the volume size from 8 to 18 now. So we will add 10 more GB to the same EC2 instance. So I'm going to create first 10 GB size of EBS volume. And one thing to be make sure is you're launching your EBS volume to the same availability zone than your EC2 instance. You cannot take your EBS volume from the different availability zone than your EC2 instance and attach it. That's not possible. So both of the things, EBS and EBS volume and the EC2 instance has to be into the same availability zone. So that's the condition. You can take the snapshot from the different availability zone or cross region or cross account as well, and you can create a volume, but you cannot use this volume that is created in a different place than the availability zone where EC2 instances and mount it. That's not possible, so you have to make sure. So my EC2 instance is in AP Southeast 2A, which is Sydney 2A. 2A is the first availability zone. Rest of the things I'll leave it. I'm not going to make any modification. Once the volume is created, it should reflect to the same volume dashboard here. So let's check. Takes time. So now we have a volume available, and the color denotes that it is not in use. That means it's available, created, but it's dangling. It's not being hooked to any of the EC2 instance at a time. So what we are going to do is we are going to call it as a test server secondary, and this test server secondary we are going to make it attached to some EC2 instance that we have created. So we are going to use the actions attach volume, and then go from the drop down. We can see the server. So this is the test-server which we want to attach it, and here this is what the device naming will be automatically given by AWS. So we do not have to worry about any of the things. Only thing we should see is our volume is attached to the right instance, and both of them should be in the same availability zone. They should not be across. So next thing, click on attach, and this becomes in a use. Going back to the instances, we should be able to see the volumes increased here. So block devices, you can see that there is an additional block device over here. So there is one root device, and that's the block device. And the second one is our secondary one that we have created. What we have to do, we have to go and run our lsblk command again, which will list us the blocks that is available. So now we can see the xvdf. There's the 10 GB, which is not yet mounted. This is mounted one, and this is not mounted. So we have to create a mount point for that. Let's follow up the process, and we'll be able to do it. So this is called the xvdf. So we are going to create determine a file system for it for the AWS. So what we are going to do is we are going to run this command. I leave these commands into the description so that you can follow. So after running this command, we can go to create a file system for it. So we are creating the file system on the newly created device. This is our secondary volume. Once this is done, then we are going to run through the next command, which is creating the directory with the name data into the EC2 instance, where we'll create a mount point. So this directory will have the mount point. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a mount point now into this directory. So we have created a file system, we have created a directory, and now we are creating a mount point inside the data directory. And here we go, we are almost ready. So let's see what difference we have now. Once we run this command, you see that your mount point for this is created. That means you can go to the data directory and write anything over here that is going to get saved into the new volume that we have attached to the data directory. You can see in the previous lsblk command result here, there is no mount point, and in here you can see this is the mount point created. So that's the difference now. So we have a volume mounted. Whenever you do not want this volume to use, you can just unmount and detach and get rid of it. You can attach the same volume to the different EC2 instance. So once you detach, that means I can go to the volumes and select the specific volume that I want to detach, and so this is the latest one, which we can just detach the volume and then attach it to the next EC2 instance. And I can do it if the EC2 instance is in the same availability zone as the EBS volume. So that's all, folks. Hope you like this session. If you have any question, you can leave your questions as a comment into the comment sections. If you have any other suggestion or any feedback, please feel free to leave the comments. I'll come back with the next set of videos. Till then, feel free to go through the video and share your thoughts or inputs. Thanks for watching.